Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of applause for our National Youth Service Choir as they leave. Let us appreciate them with more ya clap. Asanteni sana bendi yetu. Thank you so much, Director of Music, Patrick Mugweru, the Deputy Mr. Thomas Mutai, and Senior Drum Major Moses Ndambuki. Thank you so much for that stewardship that you've done unto us. Our chief guest now on stage is KSG with a piece. Let us appreciate Kenya School of Government choir with a round of applause. I'm double sure whatever our DG, Professor Nura is happy. Bwana Ngote mahala popote alipo, najua anatingiza tu kichwa akisema mambo safi. On stage, ladies and gentlemen, is Huduma Kenya Choir will give us a piece. Welcome, Huduma Kenya. Let us appreciate Huduma Kenya with a lot of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Asante sana as they resume to their seats. Allow me to take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of us to the 2025 Africa Public Service Day celebrations here at the Amphitheater under the Ministry of Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs. Our theme this year, we are aware, is enhancing the agility and resilience of public institutions to achieve equitable governance and rapidly address historic delivery gaps. If I was to go with the tagline, I would just say agile, resilient, equitable, transforming public service for all. Our guest, Principal Secretary, State Department for Public Service and Human Capital, Dr. Jane Kileibunya. The chairperson represented by Honorable Mr. James Nyango Koyo, who is a renowned member of parliament consecutively for 3 terms representing the people of Muhoroni. I take cognizance of all the public service commissioners, the secretaries, the deputy commission secretaries, director generals present, secretary generals present, the CEOs present, all the presenters, discussants, and all the panelists present, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great testimony that we are all here to look back, to reflect, and borrow to what public service has done in the negative part, in the positive part of it, look at our SWOT analysis, and ask ourselves, where can we do better? And with the permission of our chief guest, I now wish to invite Mheshimiwa, on behalf of the chairperson of the National Department Committee on Labor, to come forward and deliver his remark. And I will invite all of us to put our hands together as we bring on board Mheshimiwa. Karibu sana. Let's appreciate Mheshimiwa as he comes on stage. Karibu sana sana.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow participants, I have been ably introduced. I will repeat for the purpose of making you understand well. My name is Honorable James Nyango Koyo. I'm a member of Parliament for Muhoroni constituency. I'm doing my 3rd term in Parliament, and all the 3 terms I've been a member of labor and social protection. I have a passion for labor issues because I grew up in the labor movement. My brother Francis Atwoli and I were labor participants in the defunct Kenya Post and Telecommunication Corporation. I'm here to represent the very able chairman of the Labor and Social Welfare Committee in Parliament, Honorable Kitty Chonga, who is attending the International Labor, attending the congregation of the International Labor Organization in Geneva, and I'm honored to step in his shoes, and I have a speech which I'll read on his behalf. Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs, Hon. Geoffrey Kirenga Ruku, Principal Secretary, State Department for Public Service and Human Capital Development, Dr. Jane Kileibunya, PhD, distinguished guests, colleagues in public service, innovators, partners, and fellow Kenyans. Good morning. It is my great honor and pleasure to address the 2025 Africa Public Service Day national celebrations. Today, we join our brothers and sisters across the continent in reflecting, showcasing, and reimagining public service under the theme, enhancing the agility and resilience of public institutions to achieve equitable governance and rapidly address historical service delivery gaps. This concept, predicated on the knowledge that redressing the past injustices on our continent and fostering long-term resilience, depending heavily on robust and adaptable public institutions. Today, we come together to recognize the vital role of public service in shaping Africa's future and reaffirm our commitment to excellence, innovation, and equity in service delivery. This year's theme could not be more timely or relevant. As we gather here, we are reminded that our public institutions are not just the backbone of government, they are the engine that drives our nation's progress, inclusion, and transformation. The heartbeat of any nation lies in its public institutions and our ability to adapt and respond quickly to the needs of every Kenyan, especially those who have long been undeserved. Is the true test of our commitment to equitable governance. Public service is about people. It is about ensuring that every Kenyan, regardless of background or biography or geography, has access to quality services, opportunities, and justice. Yet, we know that historical gaps and inequities have too often left some communities behind. Today's celebration is a call to action to reimagine our institutions, to embrace innovation, and to build systems that are responsive, adaptive, and truly inclusive. Over the next 3 days, we will witness inspiring examples of homegrown innovation, digital platforms that bring government closer to the people, new approaches to citizen engagement, and creative solutions to long-standing challenges and historical gaps in the service delivery. These are not just technological advancements, they are practical interventions that are making real difference in people's lives, ensuring that no Kenyan is left behind. This is evidence of progress in the public service and forms the blueprints for the future of public service in Kenya and across Africa. Africa Public Service Day is more than a celebration. It is a natural platform for institutional visibility, peer learning, and strategic alignment with our development goals. This is our opportunity to reflect on how we are embracing inclusion. This is all that we do. As chairperson of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Labor, I am proud of the strides we have made in legislative reforms, policy oversight, and championing the rights and welfare of the public servants. Kenya's public service operates under a framework of laws, policies, and institutions designed to ensure effective governance and service delivery. For instance, our Constitution, the effective governance and service delivery, for instance, our Constitution, the supreme law of the land, enshrines public service principles and values, which was followed by the enactment of the Public Service Commission Act 2017 that established the Commission and its critical function of overseeing human resource management in the public service. The National Assembly Committee on Labor has taken its mandate seriously and has successfully conducted approval hearings for new Parliamentary Service Commission members, emphasizing transparency and inclusivity in public service recruitment. We have led deliberations on the Ministry's budget policy statement and budget estimates, influencing key priorities and resource allocations for national development and public service delivery. The committee has actively advocated for reforms such as establishment of uniform norms and standards for management of human resource in public service, greater inclusion for persons with disabilities, automation of performance management, and stricter recruitment to reduce irregularities and the wage bill. Even with the aforementioned achievements, we also recognize that true transformation requires partnership across ministries, counties, civil society, and most importantly, with the citizens we serve. The journey towards agile and resilient institution is ongoing. While we celebrate progress, we must remain vigilant in addressing persistent challenges, whether it's bridging the digital divide, strengthening accountability, or fostering a culture of innovation and ethical leadership across all levels of government. Let us use this occasion not only to celebrate our achievement, but to challenge ourselves. How can we make our institutions more agile and the face of change? How do we ensure that resilience is built into every level of service delivery? And how do we close the gaps of the past to build a more equitable future for all Kenyans? Together, let us build public institutions that are not only resilient in the face of challenges, but agile enough to seize new opportunities for all. I encourage all participants to engage fully in the exhibitions, symposiums, and discussions planned for this week. Share ideas, learn from each other, and find inspiration to take bold steps, commit to actionable solutions that will move Kenya and Africa forward. On behalf of the National Assembly and the Departmental Committee on Labor, I wish you fruitful deliberations and a memorable Africa Public Service Day 2025. Thank you, and I wish you all a fruitful and inspiring Africa Public Service Day. Thank you all. Thank you all for listening. And that was my chairman's report. He asked me to convey his greetings. I also passed through this, the Honorable Speaker's office on my way here, and he asked me to pass his greetings. Thank you all.
Let us appreciate Honorable James with the Mohatia Club, ladies and gentlemen in the house. Tusiwe wachoyo wa makofi. Asante. Thank you so much. It is important that you've identified the areas that we need to look behind and identify our weak areas, share best practices, and ask ourselves how can we be agile, resilient, looking for a way of transforming public service for all. I will invite all of us now to bring our eyes onto the screen for a brief documentary. If the communication team is ready, kindly.
Huduma mashinani is a game changer. Services closer to people. They give some of these documents earlier. These are people who are of the nomadic life. They keep on moving from one place to another. Huduma mashinani is a game changer.
Ningependa serikali waendelee na huduma mashinani.
Before Huduma Center, customers were waiting for a duplicate card for 3 months all over.
Mambo imekuwa mepesi.
Across Africa, a new dawn rises, a dawn of purpose, transformation, and resolve. Today, we commemorate African Public Service Day.
We are close to 700,000 people in the public service out of 50+ million Kenyans. It is a privilege for us, the few of us, to serve in the public service. But that privilege comes with a responsibility on what do we do to create opportunity for the millions who do not have the privilege we have to serve in the public service.
To honor the tireless men and women who work behind the scenes, forging the foundation of progress. Under this year's theme, enhancing the agility and resilience of public institutions to achieve equitable governance and rapidly address historical service delivery gaps, we reaffirm our shared commitment to build institutions that are responsive, inclusive, and future-ready.
Kwa hivyo tuko na jukumu katika taifa letu ya Kenya kuhakikisha ya kwamba all the public service deliveries are done in the most efficient manner. And that's why also we are here to listen to the people of this constituency, of this county, that all the government services are offered in the most efficient way.
For decades, vast regions and communities across the continent have endured the weight of marginalization. Disparities in healthcare, education, water, and administrative services have persisted. But today, African public institutions are standing tall, transforming systems to serve every citizen, everywhere. Agility means adapting quickly to changing needs. It means leveraging technology, data, and innovation to bring services closer to the people. Resilience is the backbone of public service. It is the ability to withstand crises, recover swiftly, and build back better. Whether in the face of pandemics, natural disasters, or economic shocks. Across the continent, we see the rise of collaborative leadership and a public sector that listens, learns, and evolves.
I was here on a ground truthing, and I'm really impressed with what I have seen. I was here slightly after 7 o'clock. All the desks were opened. Kenyans had come in, and the Kenyans who came through have been served. I can assure you what I have seen here is truly very impressive, and my presence here is just to affirm the staff that we shall work together, and that in case there are any challenges, we have to ensure we handle those challenges together so that Huduma Center serves its purpose.
Okay, kwa majina, I'm Joaquin Kibet Korir. I'm from Kericho County. Actually, nimekuja Nairobi Huduma Center, and the service was good also. Service haikuwa mbaya. Actually, sijachukua more than 20 minutes hapa. Actually, it was less than 20 minutes.
My name is Alice Michelle Awino. I came to Huduma Center for application of good conduct. The experience that I have is the line was that short, and what I can say is you continue with the such spirit. Thank you.
Nilikuwa nimeenda kutafuta mambo ya good conduct na nilisaidika haraka. Services huko ni nzuri. Huduma zenye nilipata huko nilipelekwa vizuri, sikukaa dakika nyingi nikamaliziwa. Sikuona wakiwa na delay, system zao hiyo wakati niliona ziko sawa. Na labda kitu yenye naweza sema, anaweza labda angalia ni hizo system zisikuwe zinarudi chini. Juu kuna sometimes unaweza enda huko upate system ziko chini, unaenda unaambiwa ugoje, lakini wakiupdate hizo system zikuwe fast, services zitakuwa nzuri zaidi.
We see young professionals shaping new approaches, and seasoned leaders mentoring the next generation of civil servants. Equitable governance is no longer a distant goal. It is becoming a living reality, where policies reflect the people's needs, and delivery is fast, fair, and inclusive.
Actually, we've been having a problem with the number of the uncollected IDs. As you can see, we have many IDs which are uncollected. But of late, we've introduced a system which is called the SBA, Service by Appointment System, whereby a client is informed once the IDs are ready. A text normally is sent to the client, and the client, having gotten the text, they normally come to pick the IDs. So that one isn't our job when it comes to the numbers of the IDs that are pending to be delivered to the clients.
The services that we render here are for birth certificates. Generally, we issue birth and death certificate, but specifically for civil registration Huduma Center, you only issue birth certificate, whereby the client applies online through eCitizen. They produce a copy of their notification or the child's notification from the place of birth, a copy of the father's ID, a copy of the mother's ID. They access the eCitizen portal, apply through the eCitizen portal. Payment is done through M-Pesa. There is no cash services or cash rendered between us and the client.
Those who have applied for driving license through NTSA, please come and collect your driving license. We have birth certificates across many Huduma centers, the 52 Huduma centers we have in the Republic of Kenya, and the birth certificates are not collected. Please come collect your ID. Come collect your birth certificates as well as your driving license.
African Public Service Day is more than a celebration. It is a call to action. A moment to renew our pledge to serve with integrity, transparency, and heart. Together, we are bridging historical divides.
Our collective responsibility to shape a forward-looking, innovative, and citizen-centered public service.
I am persuaded that technology holds the key to improving efficiency, enabling inclusion, promoting transparency and integrity, deepening trust, and strengthening public confidence in government service provision. This is the reason why we are digitizing government information and taking public services online.
Together, we are reshaping public service for the Africa we want. African Public Service Day 2025. Resilient, agile, equitable. A public service that leaves no one behind.
Thank you so much, communication team. Let's appreciate the work done by our communication team for that well brought together, notably for all of us who've been able to understand now the background and all the feelings that the people have outside these circles. It is now my singular duty and honor to introduce a person that I think if I'm to do a proper introduction, it will take me the better afternoon. But allow me to just single out a few things that this is the person that if I'm asked to say a word, I would say she is a researcher. She is a guru in a lot of issues of institutional visions and mission. If you need to have your mission and vision as a human being or as an individual, this is the person that you need to meet, and she'll be able to advise you. Notably, she was part of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms in Kenya, and she's also an author. And I said if I'm to introduce her, I don't think my shoes are equal to her introduction, but allow me to request all of us to put our hands together for one and only Dr. Jane Kere Ibunya, our PS. Makofi mazuri ya PS wetu.
Wow. How do I begin? Good afternoon, my fellow servants to the nation. Good afternoon to you. Mheshimiwa, it's a pleasure to have you here. Karibu sana. A seasoned politician, a man who means well for the workers of this nation. Madam Commissioner, it's our joy to have you with us. And Emeritus Professor, Senior African Civil Servant, and the rest of us. Allow me first to honor your dedicated service to our country, Kenya. I have said it time and again, and allow me, for those of you who have heard me say this before, so that it does not sound like a broken record, that for sure you are and will always be the unsung heroes of our country. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Arap Ruto. He is one of us. He is one of you. He is a civil servant, and he believes in you. I, your PS, totally believes in you and have never underestimated your potential. Kenyans, as a nation, believes in you. But today, Africa confirms that they recognize your service to this great continent. And for that, allow me to say, hongera. Public service is about many things. Most of you here are renowned public servants, serving, and others retired. But public service, for me, what I discovered from the time I took office, very profoundly, is that public service is about doing our jobs efficiently, but above all, very honestly. Public service is about complete dedication to the people and the nation. There are many people who would be doing your jobs now, but it's you, the chosen one. Take a minute and think of a moment when you'd retire. Let me not say get sacked. How many applications are going to be placed just looking for that one job? What does that tell you? That being a public servant is both interesting and very challenging. Therefore, it takes us to the theme of this congregation, that in public service, it demands us to be agile, we have to be resilient, and above all, extremely innovative. Talking about innovation, what did you think of this week to do differently and achieve better results? Innovation is not being in a scientific lab. Innovation is not about reading the latest journals on the website. It's about thinking inside the box, thinking outside the box, and thinking without the box. So you yourself is the greatest tool of innovation. Therefore, that makes public service one of the most rewarding jobs on earth. It means losing yourself to the service of others. When I say these so many words, what I'm trying to say is that public service is vital for the functioning of any society. We are in the world of better, bottoms-up economic transformation agenda. Look at yourself as the first enabler. Among all the pillars, you, as a public servant, you are an enabler to all those 5 pillars. How lucky are you? You must know that you are a chosen one. Therefore, that calls for us to have a high sense of civic responsibility. We have to do this in our critical services by implementing policies and promoting the overall good of all the Kenyans. But most importantly, when it comes to public service in the government of Kenya, we should promote human resource and also promote ethical conduct. As we do this, we should endeavor to give our best in the provision of essential services. Let me speak in a few minutes about the theme of this year, enhancing the agility and resilience of public institutions to achieve equitable governance and rapidly address historical gaps. This theme is a clarion call, is a reminder to all of us. I'll endeavor to define just a few of those terminologies so that we put ourselves into that compass and we put ourselves into the current 21st century world in which we have to operate. Resilience, my fellow civil servants. The theme of this engagement simply means we are able to withstand difficult situations and challenges to succeed. So as your PS, I'll ask all of us to be very resilient so that we change Kenya. Let's not sit in our corners and keep complaining. Agility, what does that mean? In very simple English, it is having to perform. And just not performing, but doing it very quickly, easily, seamlessly, and having an impact. Impact on service delivery. Let's go out there and have it done. Equitable governance, many definitions to that particular terminology. But what I find extremely profound to me is that we have to ensure an inclusive and fair engagement of all the stakeholders. And let us remember, Kenya as a nation is our stakeholder. Then there is the last word there, to rapidly address historical service gaps. I want to appreciate Mheshimiwa Koyo has spoken so eloquently about the gaps that we have to look at that are historical. So we have to look at the periods. We also refer to the areas, because once we understand the periods and the areas, then identification of strategies and interventions to mitigate these misgivings becomes a very simple task for us. It is historical injustices because of the absence of certain perspectives in public service. And I want to believe all of us as we live here, that will be one of our on our to-do lists as we go. We have to identify these areas, we get the perspectives, understand the misgivings so that we take Kenya on taxi where this is supposed to be. So what am I saying very affirmatively about the topic or the theme of these celebrations? This should be loud and very melodious. When I say loud, is that we go out there intentionally to ensure that we are there and set this theme into practice. When I say melodious, not all of us are here. So we should ensure that this is a message we are carrying forward. To everybody else who is part of us in the public service, but is not here, for reasons that we should all be able to understand. Only then shall we work together to realize it shouldn't just be a moment of us coming here and celebrating. Yesterday, I'm telling you, we had a buzz. Mheshimiwa, we were all over Nairobi. We were on a caravan those of us who were there for a moment became video vixens. You know video vixens? We had a big public address and the music was so good and we were all doing what we can do. It was just not for no reason. It was because we celebrate ourselves, and as we celebrate ourselves, we must set new targets. So this theme is supposed to enable us set very targeted goals and goals that are achievable in making public service serve its purpose. Service is about working for the benefit of the general public. Why are we speaking about innovation? So that we can improve the quality of our citizens, not only in Kenya, but in the continent. Above all, it's our duty to ensure the well-being of all the Kenyans, because whether in private or public service, they all need our services. They all knock on our doors. They cannot deliver their mandate without us. What do I mean? We are the engine. So this theme should call on all of us to work and work diligently to deliver. Africa recognizes you. That means Africa has you as one of its partners to improve service delivery. As I finish, I say this. Let us serve Kenyans, protect the rights and interests of the public. Let us seek excellence like Daniel in the Bible did. Daniel did not seek praise. Daniel sought excellence that was divine. It is our duty to make public service happy. When I took over, I came with a tagline. And in this sitting, please allow me to share that tagline, that we must make public service happy. We should raise the happiness index in public service. Can't you clap for me? It's not about the salary. It's about service delivery. Thank you all. May God bless you. God bless Kenya, and God bless Africa.
Allow me to request for more heartier clap for our Principal Secretary, ladies and gentlemen, for that well-presented remarks. I just took a bit of some things agile, able to move quickly, and easy, impact, positive move, resilience, the capacity to withstand or recover quickly from difficulties, equitable, which is fair and impartial, then transformation or transforming, making a mark, change in form of nature or experience, thinking outside the box, thinking inside the box, and thinking even when there is no. That was, I think, Madam P.S., if I don't go home with anything, that is key. That I should think even when there is no, when there is no box. You know, many times you like thinking either outside or what about if the box is not there? You'll stop thinking. Madam P.S., I'm a product of what you've shared, because I transformed a talent into a career. And you've requested us to do the work we've been bestowed wholeheartedly, with minimal or no supervision. A friend of mine, Siredia Brown Kutso, will tell you, anytime he calls me at night and tells me, tomorrow we have a function, can you come and moderate for us? I tell him, I'm running. Why? I'm a civil servant, and I don't only wait for the salary, but I love what I do. I also request that I share that sickness to you. Love what you do. And the moment you do so, things will be easy, minimal supervision, minimal letters of show cause or no letters of show cause. When years come, you're promoted. When your bosses are happy, God is happy, because service to humanity is service to God. Appreciate yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. with the permission of our PS, we'll now be moving to the next step of our program today. We have very rich presenters with us. We have very rich discussants. I was looking at their bio, and they have a lot to share with us. I would request that we don't break for health break. Invite the management of the hotel kindly now to restructure, to reshape our presentation, now the plenary downstairs there, so that now we can move to the next level of our presentation. We'll be focusing on a few things that I'll be sharing with you. I'm doing this so that we can do the setup of the panels. KICC kindly, I know someone is doing that for me. So that we now go to a deeper step. The keynote speaker, our speaker from the representative of the people of Moroni, gave us an insight of why we are here. Madam PS have also given us better, more approach of how things need to be looked at. We'll now be inviting presenters, we'll be inviting discussants who will share with us. And as we are doing the setup changing, just allow me to share the first topic that we'll be covering now is in our program. So we want to go deeper and ask ourselves, enhancing the agility and resilience of public institutions to achieve equitable governance and rapid address historical services delivery gaps. We'll focus on those areas that have been identified there. And as we are doing the setup for the panel, I'll request that I take the opportunity to invite one singular person who also has a vast knowledge on human resource administration and several things that she's going to share with us on aspects of development of service. And on behalf of the chairperson, Ambassador Anthony Mushiri, who is the chairperson, Public Service Commission, allow me to request all of us to put our hands together as we welcome Madam Joan Humechaya, who will share on us on a brief aspects. Put your hands together for the representative of the chair, Ambassador Mushiri. Madam Karibu.
So much. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you all. The MP for Muhoroni representing the Labour Committee, Honorable Koyo, the PS Public Service, Madam Dr. Imbunya, all other guests here. I wish to make a presentation on enhancing the agility and resilience of public service institutions on behalf of the chairperson of the Public Service Commission. I want to say that I will be joined by discussants against this topic, prominent and able discussants that will chambua the topic after my presentation. So my work is to just give a brief review of the topic. I realize that a lot of the words that embrace the topic, enhancing the agility and resilience of public institutions towards equitable governance and addressing historical service gaps, have already been prosecuted by some of the speakers. But my presentation will be very short, and it will include the following. The objectives, that is agility and resilience, the nexus with development and frameworks that are there within the public service and even internationally and regionally for Africa, because this is our Africa Public Service Day. We'll look at the structural issues. We'll look at the transformation and transformative policy interventions and the key concepts that we are looking at today. So can I have my presentation so that the audience can look at it. That is the introduction that I have today. That is how the presentation has been structured. And on introduction, we want to say that governments operate in an ever more volatile, complex, uncertain, and ambiguous environment, and that we are faced with an increasingly wicked, interdependent policy problems. The person who is got the slides, please. And like the private sector, governments are having to adjust to both challenges and opportunities presented by globalization and rapid technological changes. And the effects of constant financial and economic shocks and crises have put further pressure on governments to cut costs and increase value for money. So, we are saying that in becoming an agile and resilient public service, we need to move from our traditional model of the state, which has rigid and vertical, hierarchical silos. It's no longer adequate. That traditional model is no longer adequate. We need modern economies and societies that require a more strategic and flexible public sector. And this has by the PS and even the Honorable Koyo. And we are saying we need to work differently. We need to have adaptive leadership and a workforce that is also adaptive and move away from the traditional models. And therefore, if we have to look at the key concepts, which have already been alluded to by our previous speakers, we talk about agility as the ability for a public institution in Kenya to rapidly adapt, innovate, and this was talked to by the PS, innovate and respond effectively. Meaning we have to be more responsive, we have to have better outcomes for our people. And resilient is about public institutions that are strategic, that provide oversight, that are sustainable, that have the ability to anticipate and absorb and adopt the shocks and stresses, be they political. And therefore we need to ask ourselves as public servants, and even those people who are we are serving, are we able to withstand and adopt the shocks and the stresses, be they political, economic, or social, while continuing to deliver on their core mandate effectively, transparently, and accountability. So each one of us, wherever you are you able to do that? And equitable governance is about governance that ensures fair, inclusive, and just distribution of public resources and services across the regions and population groups in Kenya, especially the marginalized. And this has been alluded to within our constitution, which provides for inclusivity, fairness, equitable distribution of resources across all the chapters of the constitution. You'll find that. And this requires that we address, therefore, equitable governance requires that we address disparities in access of the various services, be they economic opportunities, political participation, inclusive development, social cohesion. All that is what we are calling equitable governance. So having looked at the key concepts, we'll move on to discuss the issue of objectives of enhancing agility. Why do we need to address or to enhance agility and resilience in public institutions? And briefly, this is because we need service delivery continuity. An interrupted service, we don't need services where there's a person in theater and the electricity is not there. We need institutional capacity to adopt so that we improve institutional capacities to absorb and adopt the shocks without compromising quality. So our Kenyans, our citizens require quality. Our Kenyans and citizens require that we provide them with services that are that have the quality aspect embedded. And we also have the objectives of innovation and continuous improvement. We foster innovation. We continuously improve prompt service delivery, and this is one of the values under Article 10, that the public service must offer services promptly, and it must be responsive. We also require that we have effective implementation of devolution, because public service is not just about the national government, but it transcends the country into the counties. And also the fact that we have to cultivate public trust and legitimacy. And this is one of the areas where maybe we are not doing very well as a public service. Do the public trust us? Do we have legitimacy as a public service institution or a public servant? So why do we need all this? We need to understand the outcomes and the focus of this theme today, and what we need to do as a public service in terms of resilience and agility. That we need to understand the outcomes and focus on citizen engagement. So are our citizens actively involved in shaping public policies, in shaping budgets and decision-making processes, to ensure that services reflect community needs and priorities, that we don't sit in our offices in Nairobi and imagine that we are actually serving the citizens. And therefore, one of the issues that has been embraced by the Kenyan Public Service is public participation. And you've seen it being implemented in policy making, in budgeting, and even in decision making that affect people. We also look at it in terms of transparency outcomes, where we have open and accessible sharing of public information by government institutions to enable accountability and informed citizen oversight, responsive governance, a governance approach which I've already talked to, where public institutions adapt quickly and effectively to citizen needs and feedback, and emerging challenges to deliver timely and relevant services. And that's why we are saying that we should disseminate our services to the closest possible ward or constituency, so that our citizens feel us. And that is the only way then that we can also get citizen feedback, and we will be satisfied that we have engaged our citizens. Now, in terms of addressing these, we have structural issues. There are deep-rooted issues that should bother us as public servants. And these deep-rooted issues hinder the effectiveness, equity, and sustainability of service delivery. For example, there is centralized decision-making culture, where we make decisions at the headquarters, even at the county level, without understanding what does the person in Muhoroni look like when we are making services in, that is Siaya or Sum. So despite constitutional devolution, many key decisions, resources, and authority remain centralized. Not just at the national government, even in the county levels, we have decisions centralized at the county headquarters. There's rigid bureaucracy. And we become agile and resilient by taking away the bureaucracy that bedevils our public service all the time. This is something that we talk about all the time, but we have not really moved on. It's only the youthful population that are telling us that now we need to move on, adopt more innovative ways, adopt technology. Weak institutional capacity, that public service institutions have not built themselves to be technically savvy, to have expertise, to have systems and resources to effectively design and implement and monitor service delivery. And we have fragmented service delivery systems where budget ceilings are often unrealistic, Mheshimiwa. Delayed disbursements are common, and development budgets are frequently reallocated. And therefore, we cannot build institutional capacity and have service delivery that is so systematic and integrated without addressing the issues of resources and how they are dispersed to the various institutions. And those are the structural issues, the deep-rooted issues that we are looking at. We have chronic underfunding and unpredictable budgets. We have skills mismatch and human resource constraints. And this is something that as a public service commission, and the State Department for Public Service responsible for human resource capital development, we need to look at the lack of skilled personnel in critical areas. This leads to service gaps, and we will not have equitable development if we have service delivery gaps, if we have capacity of institutions that are weak, then these weak institutions cannot be resilient or agile. And therefore, the call for this year's theme requires that we look at our skills, our human resources at all levels of government, not just at national level, and have ourselves rethink what do we need to do to improve public service. Inadequate infrastructure backbone, especially in regions that lack, and therefore the services are not equitable. And our theme requires that we address historical service delivery gaps. Those service delivery gaps cannot be addressed with weak infrastructure in many regions, lack of roads, lack of ICT, connectivity. At the Public Service Commission, we were trying to do interviews, virtual interviews for people, young people who we want to recruit, and we were doing them virtually, and it's actually impossible to connect to some people in various regions. And therefore, we are not being inclusive. We are not addressing the citizen at the grassroots. And the politicization of service delivery, political interests often override technical planning and decision making. But if we are saying that if we have resilient institutions, if we have institutions that know what they are set up to do, then we cannot be manipulated within the political space. And therefore, we also have weak monitoring and evaluation and data systems. And Madam PS, even as you take office, the data of the public service, I heard the President talk about 700,000 public officers. And we are likely to find that this number may not be what we think it is. And therefore, if we have no data on what is with us, how are we supposed to even serve the citizens? How are we supposed to say then there's weak capacity or there's inadequate capacity somewhere unless we have adequate data systems? And a lot of government institutions do not have this data. A lot of data that they may use to make policies or to make decisions or even to allocate resources. Incoherent legal and regulatory frameworks, conflicting laws, outdated regulations, and poor enforcement mechanisms hinder reforms and smooth delivery. I know this is something that we consistently work on, especially in the area where we are supposed to work on, in the HR space. And we have the support of Parliament in this regard. And the legacy of historical marginalization, that there are those institutions that have historically been left out of development, and that legacy must be addressed deliberately so that we bring together all those historical issues and historical gaps and ensure that all Kenyans then are able to get a fruit of the independence. And poor intergovernmental coordination, of course, that is one of the themes that make us not deliver properly, that the national government and the county governments do not talk to each other so much. And therefore, we have service delivery gaps. Having looked at the structural issues, the issues that hinder us from being resilient and agile, which include also urban planning deficits and also informal economy and service delivery challenges. We look at the nexus between the agility and resilience of public service institutions in Kenya and the key development frameworks. That we are not talking in space. We are talking within the continent and outside. We are talking to the global space. And we have the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. If you look at goal number 16, it says peace, justice, and strong institutions. And that goal talks to promoting transparent, responsive, and accountable governance. Next slide, please. And that talks to our theme today. If we have strong institutions, agile and resilient institutions, then we address the SDG goal number 16. for SDG goals number 3, 4, 6, 9, and 13, which talks to indirect support goals of health, education, water, infrastructure, and climate action through adaptive service, we know that we need to achieve these goals, and therefore, as a country, we need to address those social services that talk to mwananchi at the grassroots level. And as public service institutions and public servants, then we are required to ensure that this is done in a more coherent manner. We become more agile and resilient, and therefore build our capacity to and institutional strengthening to be able to achieve the SDGs as listed. On SDG 17, on the matter of partnerships for goals, we are saying that we work in silos, but by fostering multi-stakeholder collaboration through flexible governance systems, then we are able to address the systems and have systems that evolve, and systems that will address the breakdown of and break down the silos that may exist, so that we are achieving together. That no one can achieve alone, we need to achieve together. And if you look at the Africa Agenda 2063, which we aspire to even as a nation, we are looking at Aspiration 1 that provides for prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development through resilient systems that deliver services equitably. Again, that talks to our theme. And we are saying the theme, as it is for our African Public Service Day 2024, is actually a reflection of where Kenya wants to go in achieving the Agenda 2063. And as we look at Aspiration 3, we are told that we need an Africa of good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, justice, and the rule of law by strengthening institutions and public accountability. Our Constitution has already enshrined all these values. They have human rights, justice, rule of law, democracy. All this is enshrined in our Constitution, and therefore it is imperative for us moving forward 2025, we aspire to that Agenda 3. And for the Agenda 7, Africa as a strong, united, and influential global player. How do you become a global player? Africa then influence global issues, global economics, global social and climate issues. Why would the President of America be the one influencing us? Why would we be the one in Kenya then influencing him instead? And we are saying we need to have at least strategic positioning. We need to have smart diplomacy. We need to have soft power and credibility. That if our institutions have credibility, if our institutions can capture what we have best in terms of our creatives, our music, our sports, then we are able to be a global influencer in the areas that we have a competitive advantage, so that we shape global politics and diplomacy. Then, finally, I want to look at Kenya Vision 2030 and just clarify that we have the various pillars in Kenya Vision 2030 that provide for a people-centered, accountable, and result-oriented public service. A reminder to you public servants that we already have a vision to abide by, enhancing accessibility to quality service in health, education, water, housing, especially during crisis and shocks, promoting effective public sector reforms and ICT-driven service delivery. Again, when we look at the Vision 2030, and now we look at what our government has proposed for us in terms of the blueprint for the country, and that is the Kenya Kwanza Better transformation agenda, we have the pillar of governance and institutional reforms, the pillar of social transformation through assessed quality service, and digital superhighway and creative economy. Having looked at this and looking at what we are looking at today as a public service, all this, if we were to follow already the blueprints that are there in government, We will be agile and transparent. We will be strengthening our institution to deliver on the social aspects and require institutions that are resilient so that we implement tech-savvy service delivery models like the Huduma Center, like the e-citizen, and so on. So assessing the Kenyan Public Service Administration may be an assessment. Maybe we need to do an assessment of where are we. And we are saying on inclusive governance, Kenya has done moderately well. The next slide, please. Oh, okay, there. We have Huduma centers, we have e-citizen, we have open government partnerships, we have mobile services, remote locations, a lot of organizations already doing this. So in terms of effectiveness, maybe we can say we are moderate, but we need wider inclusion efforts, that there are Kenyans who do not feel this inclusive governance. In terms of equitable resources, again, Kenya has done very well in terms of physical decentralization, like the CDFs, the CRA formulas, the equalization funds, and therefore we are good, but we have implementation gaps which persist. On social cohesion, we have Cohesion and Integration Commission policies, civic oversight, ID coverage, anti-graft efforts. We are moderate to low. That is my own assessment in terms of social cohesion, but we need to improve on those gaps, and we need to build the trust that citizens will have in us so that we do not have those gaps. So in terms of proposed outcomes and policy, the policy objective of citizen engagement, we need to increase the voice and ownership, and I think we have done well in public participation. We need to have digital engagement platforms. We need to have civic education. And on policy objective on transparency, we need to reduce the opacity and corruption that bedevils the public service. We need to have trackable financial flows and strengthen our oversight institutions and be therefore more responsive in terms of responsive governance through service delivery and smart and anticipatory planning. I would like to leave the recommendations on this topic to the discussants that are coming up, and I'm happy to say that we have eminent Kenyans, career civil servants that are going to also look at this topic and have a discussion around it. Thank you and welcome to the discussants. We have our peers. We have Indemoli, who is the secretary to the State Department, to SCAC, and Professor Noura, KSG. And I think they will then take the issues that I've discussed here to the next level. Thank you so much for listening, and let's have a happy Public Service Day, as we have the PS's motto, which says we must make public service happy. So let us smile and be happy as we celebrate the day. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was a good choice of the chairman to send the representative to come and share with us widely. And I'm glad because we are all reaping a lot from experience. And we said we look back, borrow from what we think is positive, reduce our weaknesses, improve on our positives that we are working on, and remember to think even when the box is not there. We'll be having a brief program once we get to the plenary, and our presenters are already with us. But I want to take cognizance and appreciate that our CES was away on a special program or on official duty, but he will be joining us in a moment from now. So if you see us come back, change the program a bit. It is a reason that we want to accommodate him, so I'll request my good friend, the moderator, Mr. Simon Angota, who is just standing behind me, to take a leave for some few minutes and then I'll bring him on board. But I'll invite all the presenters. Two of the discussants are already with us, and one of them is Madam PS. So I will request the moderator kindly to proceed to the lower side of the amphitheater auditorium. You can see a setup already done. And this is none other than our moderator, Mr. Simon Angote, OGW. He's a consultant and a trainer. Currently, you can call him Emeritus because he has now, is not active in a lecture. He was a senior principal lecturer, Institute of Devolution Studies at the KSG, with an experience of over 42 years on that field. He's done a lot of consultancy, assignments, and responsibilities. And one key thing that I saw is that he's a member, was a member of the technical expert committee at the AUC that developed a framework for reporting and implementing committee on the undertaking capacity assessment and realization of public service, if you like it, KARPS. So request the moderator to take the front seat at the lower edge of the auditorium. On behalf of Professor Noura Mohamed, who is our Director General of Kenya School of Government, I take cognizance of Dr. Rachel Ngesa Wambugu, who is the Director, Lower Kapete Campus. She's in charge of learning and development. She's passionate about capacity in public service transformation and mindset change to enhance agility and resilience. One of the key things that I love is about, she's an expert in psychometric. When you talk of psycho measurements in terms of her speciality. I would also wish to take cognizance and appreciate FSC Simon Indimuli, who is also a guru in the issue of public service. And much has been spoken about Simon, but I'm double sure the moderator will give him an opportunity to explain to us why a lot has been spoken about him. So, Mr. Simon Angote, where you are seated, sir, kindly confirm to me that your mic, not me, your microphone is working.
Hello, how are you?
Thank you so much.
Yes, I can confirm it's working.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Rachel. Sound team, I need someone to be there so that if they're not
Good
operational.
afternoon.
Thank you, Daktari. Bona Simon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much. Moderator, kindly proceed until at some point that I'll come back to you. Bwana Angote.
Peers, ladies and gentlemen, the presentation from the Commissioner John Machayo was a response to questions that we're trying to answer in this sitting. And there are three of them. The first question is, are our institutions capable of responding to shocks? Look at the case of COVID, when COVID happened, or when we have volatility. Are our public institutions capable of responding to such shocks? Number two, are our systems designed to serve all citizens, especially those in historically underserved regions? And thirdly, the question we have, we are trying to answer in this sitting is, can we redesign the architecture of public service, not just to endure, but to deliver better and deliver fast? Commissioner Machayo has given us an insight of what this topic is. She has defined to us what agility is, what resilience is, and she went on to look at challenges we face in trying to make public institutions resilient. She has talked about whether there are efforts to address those issues, and she has made reference to provisions, the Sustainable Development Goals, Africa Agenda 2063, Kenya Vision 2030, and better, to demonstrate that yes, there are efforts we are making.
Mr. Angote. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our chief guest, our Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Human Capital and Development, Honorable Jeffrey Karinga Ruku. Karibu sana waziri. You're most welcome, sir. We've already moved on with the program, and we are happy because your able peers had taken your area for presentation. May we resume to our seats. Angote. So as I said earlier, I will invite Madam PS just to formally welcome the Waziri, and then we proceed with the program. Karibu, Madam PS.
Our CS, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to introduce my boss, our boss, the CEO of the ministry. The ministry in Kenya with the longest title, because only that long title can fit the owner of it. I'm here to introduce the Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Public Service, Human Capital Development, and Special Programs. For the shortest time that I have worked with him, allow me to say this without blinking my eye, he is extremely dedicated to a path he believes is good for the country and for you, the civil servant of Kenya. My leader and our CEO, with whom we co-create solutions for our ministry and our country, is simply an easy gentleman to work with. For those of us who know him, I'll not shy away from saying he stands tall, not only in body, but also guidance. And even as he comes through, all of you will agree with me. And CS, if there's somebody who will beat your record this afternoon, then let us see that person come to give our CS a challenge to it. I am about to introduce the tallest towering figure in the House this afternoon, Honorable Geoffrey Karinga Ruku. May we all stand up as he comes to address us. There's no clapping. CS, your workers have been a bit dull. Maybe they were waiting for you. You have been dull. There's not been so much, some warmth in the room. So let's show the CS a bit of much better warmth. Can you go a round of applause?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Principal Secretary, Dr. Kere Ibunya. That introduction is what do you think about it? It's accurate. Thank you. Yes, indeed, I am tall, and that is God's presence, no? Let me start by apologizing for coming late. I got delayed in region coast, in coast region, and gone to Karoreni constituency as well as Ganze constituencies on the matters special programs. And also this morning I had a chance to visit government offices in Mombasa morning. So that's why I've delayed. My many apologies. Let me start by recognizing the Principal Secretary, who has been very gracious to organize with the organizing committee as far as this event is concerned. Dr. Kere Ibunya, also the Honorable Member of Parliament, my brother, Honorable Koyo, the Head of the State Department who are here, but I think it's only one Head of State Department who is here, but the directors who are here, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First, I want to thank the organizers of this Africa Public Service Day, the organizing committee led by the Principal Secretary, and all the senior ministry officials, and all the staffs of the ministry, the attendees of this event who are here, and everyone who is involved in the organization of this event. I want to sincerely thank you for making such an event to be a reality. It is my greatest honor to address you on this occasion of celebrating the African Public Service Day, which was instituted by the first Pan-Africa Congress of the Ministers of Public Service, which was held in Morocco in 1994. And today, we celebrate the resilience of Kenya Public Service for its role in continuing to provide much needed services to the public and its contribution in the socio-economic development of this nation. This is in line with the year's theme, enhancing the agility and resilience of public institutions to achieve equitable governance and rapidly address historical service delivery gaps. This morning, when I visited the offices occupied by public servants in Mombasa, very early morning around 7:30 and 7:45 and beyond, also 8 a.m. By 8 a.m., very few public servants were seated at their workstations. Whether it is the Ministry of Public, or whether it's the Ministry of Lands, or the Ministry, the ICT department, or the desk in charge of health, very few public servants who are seated at their workstation. And I think this is the case in most of the regional offices across our regions. And I'm calling upon all the public servants in the Republic of Kenya that the time has come where we have to change the work habits, where we have to ensure the taxpayers, they get value for their money. If you are employed to report at 8, please be at your workstation at 8. And I thank those who were at their workstation early enough. They show commitment
especially the Department of Immigration and the National Administration. The county commissioner was seated at his desk by 7:30 in the morning. These are the Kenyans who are working on to build an enabling environment for local investment as well as for international investment. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya Public Service has undergone a great transition. The public service was inherited from the colonial civil service, whereas there were very many good things about the structures and functions of the colonial civil service, there were some very fundamental shortcomings which needed urgent attention. Those employed in public service inherited a culture where they perceived themselves as more important and greater than the citizens they served. It was a white-collar job. Employees in the public service were called government officers rather than the public servants. And this is something that we have also seen in some of the institutions, especially institutions which some of them are very critical to the livelihood of pushing this country forward. And for those public servants who may be taking advantage of wanting to be more, to be called as the white-collar job instead of being perceived as public servants, especially the institutions which and the Ministry of Public Service will be very tough. The National Youth Service, the Kenya School of Government, Huduma Kenya, the Human Resource Institute, all these parastatals which are under the Public Service Ministry must recognize that they are there as public servants and they have to serve the people of the Republic of Kenya with dedication and commitment. We cannot continue public servants taking advantage of Kenyans. Let's serve Kenyans with dedication and commitment. And I'm sure and I know that is the clarion call of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya. The citizens they serve or they served were looked down upon and were expected to beg for services from the government. Some of them did not understand that public service was the right because of the behavior of public servants had made them to believe it is a favor they were receiving. Today, things have changed. We are experiencing increased empowered public which knows its rights. Citizens know and understand that they have a right to access and receive high quality and quick services. They are also concerned about dignity and respect who are being served. Additionally, political environment and socioeconomic and technological changes are affecting the way public services are being provided. These changes are forcing us to respond appropriately and become accountable for what we do and how we do it. And if all of us look at Article 232 of our Constitution, which talks about values, principles and values of public service, and this Article 232 is clearly understood by all Kenyans, and all Kenyans expect we, the public servants, to abide ourselves with the letter and the spirit of Article 232 of our Constitution. Over the years, we have witnessed various innovation by the ministry, department, agencies, and counties, which has increasingly responded to these challenges and provided excellent and effective services to the public. Some of these have been recognized nationally, as well as within the continent and even globally. These include performance contracting, the Huduma Kenya one-spot shop service delivery platforms. This shows that Kenya Public Service is focused on continuously making improvement in the delivery of public service. In spite of having challenges in providing services to the public efficiently and effectively, there are still lengthy manual processes, poor customer service, allegation of corruption, which we must continue to listen to citizens, understand these challenges, discuss remedies, and innovate solutions and ways of providing these services to meet customer needs and expectations. We must be accountable to Kenyans. Today is one such a day when we showcase and celebrate some of the innovative solutions and responses to the challenges aforementioned. I congratulate the ministries, departments, agencies, and counties which have come here to exhibit the innovations in service delivery. My expectation is that we are not only celebrating our services ourselves, but that the citizens are also celebrating us. I encourage you to each continuously and tenuously to innovate, to improve the way you provide public services. Already, we have several reforms initiatives which we are working on. Some of these include business process reengineering, digitization of services, training in customer services, so that we maximize use of these reform initiatives and work towards automation of the service processes, including use of artificial intelligence or AI to not only improve public service, but also to contribute to Kenyan global competitiveness. To ensure proper coordination of public service delivery innovations, document best practices and encourage duplication. We shall soon launch a public service delivery innovation policy, which is the process of finalization. This will help inculcate a culture of creativity and innovation in the public service, and include fairness in recognition and awards to avoid demotivating those who have come up with the innovations and have never been recognized from their contribution. I am aware that the payroll system, which is at the moment working very well within the public service, it's an innovation which is in-house, and this should be emulated and is something which we should push forward, that we are having in-house innovations some of these innovations which are saving huge amount of resources from exchequer. Our resolve to provide human smart serikalini is fundamental, and this Africa Public Service Day occasion underline our commitment to responsive, timely, and efficient delivery of public service delivery. Ladies and gentlemen, lastly, I welcome you all to visit each stand, see what the public service is doing, and learn lessons from each one, from each other. I thank you, and may God bless you all, and may God bless Kenya. Asanteni sana.
Tumpongeze waziri wetu kwa makofi mengine mazuri. Asante sana. His presentation is equal to his height. And I'm happy because the ministry now has a father figure and a mother figure. When you have a father and a mother in a ministry, what do you expect for the children? Si lazima tutakula mzuri. I'm very happy and thank you so much, Waziri. We know you've been forced to travel back to come so that you can be with us, and it wasn't in vain, because whatever you've shared with us is an insight, and we take cognizance of the work you're doing in the ministry. Mungu akubariki sana. Kila uombalo kwa imani upate kweli. It is 1:30, and with the permission of our guest, our Waziri and the PS, I will invite that we'll break for half an hour. We will break for half an hour, and kindly let us make it half an hour so that by 2 on the dot we are back, so that we can manage the half an hour for the first presentation, and also we give room to the other discussant team. So as we exit the room, we'll be given some meal cards that will guide us to Tin Tin. It is demarcated into different areas, but the food is the same. The only difference is the direction you will take. So the meal card will direct you to where you're going to eat. Don't be forced to go to other direction, thinking that the food there is different. It's all the same. The only difference is what? Is the direction you are taking. So I'll invite our guests to leave first, and then we'll follow, so that we can have a 30 minutes health break, and then we come back for the afternoon session. Thank you so much. Bon appetit. So our CS, our PAs, and our guests will take their leave. And thank you so much for your active participation. We appreciate that once we take our meal, we'll come back energetic, with enthusiasm to listen to our panelists and also to take part in the presentation. So once the guests leave, Amos will guide them on their proceedings. Then the rest of us, we can follow. We'll be guided by the ushers outside with the meal cards and the direction we'll be taking. So thank you so much for that session. It is our program, and I'm double sure we'll manage it the way it comes. I'll be able to make it juggle up and down, and at least at the end of the day, we'll achieve our objective. Asanteni sana. Some background music, DJ.